guys. I know what you're thinking. Another pregnancy related video. What the fuck? But I wasn't gonna do this one, okay? I was never gonna do this one. This one was just gonna kind of like never happen. But on the last video that I posted, one of you guys commented that you wanted this video and it got a bunch of thumbs up. So I figured like a lot of you wanted this video and then I was like, okay, I'll do it. I thought that I had explained this, but then I looked back at my old videos and I was like, oh no, I never told the story about how I found out I was pregnant. At least I don't think I did. And if I did, just, you know, don't say anything. Just let this slide. I'm gonna try to say this story to the best of my ability because I am 23 weeks pregnant and this happened, you know, quite a while ago now. So I'm gonna try to remember it as best I can. But anyway, the funniest thing about this pregnancy is that I was sure, and I mean sure, that I was pregnant the month before I was actually pregnant. I don't wanna get like super TMI, but like I guess it's because I hadn't been like sexually active in a long time because I wasn't dating anyone and I don't just like fuck everybody I meet on Tinder. Surprise, I don't know if that's like surprising to you. But point is, I just, you know, I hadn't been, you know, getting it on that much. So then when I met Nassim, and it's like, oh, now I have a boyfriend who I am regularly, you know, intimate with. This is like getting weird. I mean, it's not weird. I'm pregnant. You guys like, you know how this was made, right? Do I need to like get into the birds and the bees talk? Whatever. Point is, I guess it just like psyched me out and I was sure that I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God, I've been having sex. I'm pregnant. And I know a lot of girls that are like that as well, especially girls that haven't been intimate in a long time and then all of a sudden they're intimate again. It's just like your brain just kind of, you just think you're pregnant all the time. But that being said, you know, I've dated other people and there's been times in my life where I thought I was pregnant, but not like this time though. This time was different. And mind you, before I continue on, this was the time I was not pregnant, okay? This was happening in November of 2016. And I didn't actually get pregnant until like the first week of December, according to my calculations. Whatever, I remember just freaking out all the time. I was crying. I would tell Nassim like, oh my God, I'm fucking pregnant. What are we gonna do? And at this time, we weren't living together. We were still having a long distance relationship. So I was visiting him in California and we had only been together for such a short amount of time. And I remember we both went to CVS together to buy pregnancy tests and it was just like this super intense thing. But honestly, he was like amazing throughout that. Like he was great. About like 2 days after taking the test with Nassim, I got my period and I was like, wait, what? In the back of my mind, I was like, this is just weird. Like I was sure that I was pregnant, but I mean, whatever. Let's have a margarita. We enjoyed our time together and then I came back to Miami and he stayed in Los Angeles. And then in the first week of December, he came to Miami to visit me. It was like a super last minute trip. I think he decided like 2 days or a day before he was coming that he was just gonna buy a ticket and come. And he was actually only here for like 4 days, which makes this story just so weird and like unlikely and it doesn't make any sense, but you know, whatever. So basically he was here for 4 days and at some point in those 4 days, Noah was conceived. 4 days in 1 month. Do you know how many times a woman ovulates in a month? 1 time. Do you know how many days a month during ovulation a woman can actually get pregnant? 5 days. And he was only here for 4 days. And in one of those 4 days, I got pregnant. Anyway, so that's not what this story is about, but it's just, it's crazy. So anyway, Nassim leaves. He goes back to Los Angeles. 2 days after he left, I was in the shower putting hydrogen peroxide on my knee because I had hurt it. And the whole point of me mentioning that is that I was looking down at like my knees and my feet and nothing was wrong with them. I dry off my knee, I get up and I go back to bed. And when I'm laying in bed, I look down at my feet and I see this. And I was like, what the fuck? I think I was actually on FaceTime with my mom, if I'm not mistaken. And so I put the camera, I turned it around and I was like, Mom, what the fuck is going on with my feet? It didn't feel weird. It's not like my feet were asleep or anything. I wasn't cutting off my circulation. But my mom and my dad both said the same thing, that it was something with my circulation on my legs. Even though I wasn't cutting my circulation off, I don't know. It was just acting like I was. It was weird. And then I Googled it and I don't remember exactly what I Googled, but it was something like white spots on legs or I don't know what the fuck. And one little forum of pregnancy came up. But like I said before, I had just finished the whole month before freaking out. I pretty much freaked out the entire month. So even though I saw that forum, I was like, I'm not fucking pregnant. Okay, Jesse, we already established that. And in about 3 to 4 minutes, like all the spots and the scratch looking things were gone. So I honestly just was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't know what that was. It was weird. But whatever. I let that go and honestly I didn't think about pregnancy. I didn't think about anything like that for a while and then I did start to notice like certain things. For instance, I was starving all the time. It was like ridiculous. I was so hungry all the fucking time. But I didn't attribute that to pregnancy because I had done that the month before and I was like, Jesse, you're just fucking crazy, okay? I remember saying it the month before. I was like, if I'm not pregnant, I'm just crazy. And then I wasn't pregnant, so I was like, you're just crazy. So whatever, I had an insatiable appetite. And then I remember the thing that made me think, bitch, go get a pregnancy test. It was one night when I was sleeping and I actually woke up from the sleep because I felt this super uncomfortable pain in my boobs. It felt like something was like dropping down to my boobs. I don't know if that makes any sense. It felt like there was a weight and someone was like pushing it down and everything was just hurting and it just felt really fucking weird. But it was honestly a really bizarre feeling and I had never felt that in my life. So I was like, you know what? This is not fucking right. And then I remember waking up and looking in the mirror and I just was like, what the fuck? I noticed that my boobs had gotten like really veiny. Sorry, I'm talking so much about my boobs, but they're a big part of the story. Literally a big part, okay? These puppies have gained like fucking 3 pounds or something. It is painful. When I saw veins on my boobs, I was like, that's not normal, at least not for me. I know other women have more veiny boobs, some have less, whatever, everyone's different. But I am not personally someone who has ever had veiny boobs. So looking in the mirror and seeing pretty much the Incredible Hulk looking veins, I knew that something was not normal. And I remember Googling it and one of the first things that came up was pregnancy and I was like, oh shit, okay. So my craziness might be right this time. And I remember the first time that I thought I was pregnant in November, I went crazy. I was buying all the pregnancy tests. I took like 45 million tests and I spent like $5,000 billion because pregnancy tests are so expensive. And this month I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. So I remember Googling like cheap pregnancy tests that work, blah, blah, blah. I went to Walmart and I got their dollar test, which like is just says like HCG test or something, but people rave about it. And honestly, I'm like one of the biggest advocates for it. I'm gonna like post a picture of it here in case you need a pregnancy test anytime soon. Not spons. But this test was like the most sensitive one that actually told me I was pregnant before any of the other tests. First response, clear blue, all of those gave me negatives and this was the only one that gave me a positive before any of those. Whatever, that is so besides the point and this is not a commercial. My first pregnancy test I went and I got by myself. I didn't tell my best friend about it. I didn't tell my husband about it. I didn't tell anyone. I just didn't want to seem crazy again. But in a weird way, I already knew I was. And not in the same way I knew I was the month before. It was like a sinking feeling in my stomach. I was like, you're pregnant. I got the test by myself. I came back home and I took it. Immediately, I saw it as a negative and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm not pregnant. But instead of throwing it away, I actually put it in a plastic bag and back in a cabinet in my bathroom because I didn't want anyone to find it. Like I didn't want my mom to come over, help me clean and then like see it or anything like that. So I decided to hide it. So I was hanging out in my room like 30, 45 minutes and I don't know why, but something just told me to go check the test. I know that they say you're not supposed to read it after like 3 to 5 minutes, but I was like, just go look at it. And when I went to go look at it, I saw 2 lines. So if you don't know how pregnancy tests work, there's one control line, and if another line shows up, you're pregnant. It doesn't matter how faint that line is, if it's like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of a line or not, you're pregnant. So what I saw was a very, very, very faint shadow of a line, but I knew it was there. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm like, I see 2 lines. What the fuck? But it was nighttime when I tested, and you're supposed to test in the morning. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna test again tomorrow morning, see if the line comes back stronger. Because if you're pregnant, every single day that you test should get stronger in the beginning because it's testing your hormones, and in the beginning of pregnancy your hormones are increasing like crazily every day. So I did the test the next morning and when I looked at it, it looked like a negative to me. But when I came back like an hour later, I saw 2 lines and the line was darker than the day before. So I was like, oh shit. It's kind of hard to describe the feeling of like seeing a positive pregnancy test because it didn't feel real to me at all. At least when you're not planning a pregnancy, when it's something that's shocking to you. I don't know, am I the only one? Has this happened to anyone else? Like I just didn't feel like it was real, so I didn't really feel like the gravity of the situation. Like that positive pregnancy test didn't go in my brain to like, oh, you're gonna have a child now. I don't know, it was just like weird. I didn't make a connection. I was just kind of like, what? Am I pregnant? And then after that, I told a few people and then I told my husband. That's pretty much how I found out I was pregnant. And honestly, it's kind of funny to look back on because right now, like this all just feels like such a normal part of my life. I know people are still shocked and like, oh my God, I can't believe you're gonna be a mom. But I'm not at that point anymore. I'm completely like, I'm excited and I'm ready and you know, it's gonna be fine. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, that's cool. Anyway, like I said in my last video, I'm gonna be doing a pregnancy update video very soon, probably for my 25-week update. So if you have any questions, send them on Twitter, send them on YouTube comments, send them up my ass. Like I really don't care, but just send them. That way I can make the video more personal and something that you guys actually wanna see, not just me talking about myself being pregnant, because that's not fun for anyone but me, and it's not even that fun for me. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel because I put out new videos every Tuesday and Saturday, and I will see you on Saturday. Bye!